to platinum, right? And the entire idea behind what I was trying to say was, oh, well, look, I can mask queens and just beat these players because, guys, it's really all about mechanics, right? And this was in response to the fact that, like, a lot of the times when I would go to professional events and shit, I would have people that would come up to be like, hey, Destiny, shake my hand, and then they would ask me things. They'd be like, yo, so I just want to know if I get some feedback. I have a build that Hero does, and I keep fucking it up, and, like, I try to execute this build well, but I still lose games. Like, oh, really? What league are you in? And they'll be like, Silver League. It's like, why the fuck are you trying some like 4-base fucking shit in Silver League? Like, so I did mass queens from bronze to platinum. Like, oh, well, here, you have no idea how many fucking emails I got asking me, yo, what's the mass queen build? I'm in Gold League and I really want to fucking. Oh my god, no! Like, are you that dense? Are you actually serious right now? It's not the point. It's not the point at all. Holy shit.
He's back.
Yay!
What did I do? Why is everyone yelling at me?
I think it's because you just allowed Destiny to go live with that and didn't say a word about what it was about.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Welcome back to the second half. Go
right.
Wow.
Anyway.
Where are my procrastinator bros at? How many people in chat? Put T's in chat if you haven't done your taxes yet. Where are we at, boys?
Oh, I'll do it. Here you go.
Wow.
You haven't done them yet either, Jeff? Oh my god.
Doing it right now, bro. It's so good times.
Oh.
This is my scheduled yearly Anna breakdown, cry, freak out, everything that's gonna die every year. And I butter her up so much going into it. I'm like, oh baby, you're so beautiful. I love you. And then like taxes hit you like, ah, you know, and I'm like, it's okay, baby. It's okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, people are like, why don't you get an accountant? It's like, this is with an accountant.
Yep.
You don't know what it would be like.
Not an accountant.
Honestly, I don't even know. I mean, if you work with an accountant, I don't even know what would be worse. Like, at least when you do it on your own, you have all your shit. It seems like if you work with an accountant, it would be almost more stressful because they're constantly asking you for shit, and you've got to make sure that you give them like all the right stuff. And like,
it is in some ways.
You have to worry that like, did I give him everything? Because I know what I made and I know what I spent money on last year, but he doesn't necessarily. Did I forget to send him? You know? Oh shit.
Yeah, well, we work with an accountant and a bookkeeper.
It's kind of like hiring a pre-lawyer, though, too. If you do get audited, the accountant is who's going to defend you. You defending yourself is really hard to do.
Sure.
All right.
Speaking of illegal activity,
yep.
G2A.
All right, so last week, TotalBiscuit, the Cynical Brit, fired shots at G2A on his Twitter account saying that they use gray market business tactics and telling them to not message his players. What's that?
Just another example of TotalBiscuit abusing his platform to hurt innocent.
No.
Yeah.
So the point is that he called him out. So
we can't do innocent people with it.
So tell us first of all, explain their business model, and then tell us go into it.
All right. Well, I mean, G2A has been on my radar for more than just this. Like, before people in esports even knew who G2A was, we were covering stuff on my main YouTube channel about G2A basically selling stolen keys. Like, and it was because they have a marketplace that allows this to happen, where anyone could really sell pretty much anything. And unfortunately, it was becoming a venue for mass credit card fraud.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of examples. The developers behind Natural Selection 2 nearly had to go bankrupt because $40,000 worth of defrauded keys were stolen via credit card chargebacks on stolen credit cards and then sold via G2A.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So in the middle of last year, 7,000 keys for Sniper Elite 3 were revoked because apparently they were found. Apparently there's something wrong with the sound, I'm being told. I don't know what's up, but
when other people talk, you cut out. It's like a Skype self-monitoring thing. I don't know. We're not even using Skype. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Anyway, so Rebellion, the guys that developed Sniper Elite 3, were very public about this, saying, look, these sellers, I think it was G2A, and I think Kinguin was involved, and I think possibly G2 Play and a few other these gray market sites had got a hold of these keys. And they had been selling these keys, and they were basically stolen. And there was a recent incident involving Ubisoft with Far Cry 4. And Ubisoft decided to let people... Apparently people are saying my mic's dying. That's weird. Can everyone just hear me?
No, I hear you fine.
I hear you fine as well. It's up to Lycan. Lycan, can you hear him fine?
You guys are fine.
I don't know what to say then. Anyway, so they sold that. And the thing is, their main business model is selling keys from different economic regions for cheaper than what you can get over here. So a lot of games companies and publishers, they have tiers of economic...
Right.
disparity, essentially, where like some of the ex-Russian territories, they'll get games cheaper because their overall income level is low. So either you sell them games cheaper or they're going to get pirated. It's that simple because people want the games one way or the other. So you got two choices: sell them cheaper or they're just going to get pirated.
And both hurt the developer.
Yeah, and the piracy in those regions was like 95% before they started doing this shit. So this helped. The problem is G2A buys these keys en masse from these regions and then sells them to people in Western regions, what's called the Tier 1 economic regions, where you're used to being paying, if you buy a game on day one, you pay like 50 or 60 bucks, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So G2A has made a lot of money doing this, and they've pissed off a lot of people doing it to the point where some developers are looking to do region locking on games again. And no one really wants that because you get fucked over by region locking. Like, it's anti-consumer. Nobody wants that. But the real problem with G2A is not that they're just doing that. I mean, I don't like that they're doing that, but it's not illegal. It's the fact that they offer a marketplace that literally is used for mass credit card fraud. And they have sponsored so fucking many tournaments and teams.
Everything.
Like that. Everything. And they pester you as well. Like, my players got like 10 emails from them last week alone saying, join our thing, get 3%. Join our thing, get 3%, blah, 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 blah. It's like, shut the fuck up. One, we're sponsored by GOG, which is literally your competitor, which you would know if you'd done 5 seconds of research. Two, go away. Take the hint. We don't want you.
Yeah.
So they are very prevalent in the esports scene and the gaming scene. Lots of streamers are sponsored by them. Team Liquid, Cloud9 are all sponsored by them. So I mean, you just signed a new deal with I'm sorry, what's the company?
Well, we signed with SanDisk.
SanDisk, thank you.
We've been with GOG for 6 months, and they've extended for another 6 months, so we're still with GOG.
Right, but you just signed with SanDisk. So what did you're going through your negotiation, you're saying this is what we can offer, this is what we'd like for it, but they provide a product. So to what extent do you vet or do you scrutinize your partners before?
Like, we've turned down a lot of people. Like, G2A has offered a sponsorship probably on 20 occasions. Like, you get automated emails from G2A. Through Twitch, through your email account. It's all the same fucking misspelled form letter that comes from G2A or whatever. And we reject them time and again because there's no way I'm going to back a company that does that. It's unhelpful. And even if you say, yeah, it's a free market. Yeah, you're right. Gray market keys are not illegal. My concern is this, that if gray market retailers, this is a long-term thing. If gray market retailers become too popular, then what's going to happen is these developers are going to stop. Either they're going to region lock the keys, which is bad for people that it's like say, oh, you went on holiday, now you can't use your game or whatever. Are you forced to use a VPN or all that kind of stuff? Or they're going to stop offering these cheap keys to these regions altogether, and then gamers in those regions get massively fucked just because people in the West wanted some cheaper games and didn't want to wait for the inevitable Steam sale. So, like, overall, these companies are, in the long term, not healthy for PC gaming. It's that simple.
Okay.
I'm kind of disappointed when streamers jump on this. Like, this was like the easiest sponsorship that I've ever had to turn down. This is like the classic, like, mustache twirling guy. Like, G2A is literally, somebody comes up to you like, hey, you know those games that sell for like $40 each on Steam? Yeah, what about them? Well, we'll sell them for $20 each. And because you're a streamer, we'll give you $5 per sale. And it's like, okay, that sounds kind of fucked up. Like, It's really easy. Like, I think that their offers
too good to be true.
Yeah, the offers are so good for games that are being sold at like a fraction, literally like half or a third or a fourth, or in some cases even less. To like, oh god, like there's so many stories about G2A. Like, oh well, like all of these copies were sold from like games that fell off a truck. You got them reselling like Humble Bundle things, which are like sold initially for charity. What the fuck?
That was fucked up. I can't remember if it was G2A that did that, but since they have a marketplace, they actually forced Humble for a while to lock the Humble Bundle to your Steam account because this was becoming so prevalent. People would buy, like, for one, they would rip off this charity bundle. They'd buy like 100 of these fucking charity bundles, and then once the charity bundle got off sale, they'd resell it for like $3 or $4 a pop on G2Play or G2A. And those are both websites. They both kind of do the same thing, which is fucking bullshit. So, their marketplace enables a ton of really dodgy reselling. And even if they weren't doing that, they're still selling gray market keys, which is, in the long term, going to lead to something bad happening for consumers.
So, all right, everyone's trying to be a content creator. They're trying to get their name out there, and it helps when you can find sponsors and when you can find someone to help support your work. You're putting a lot of effort in, and the more capital you can bring in, the more you can do. So what would you suggest, you know, iNcontroL, you've built a business, you've worked with sponsors. What would you suggest to these people, you know, to not jump on these things, to find the right sponsors that are not only going to, you know, support them, but that are also going to make them, you know, they have a good business practice?
That's the hardest part about this. Just to shine a little bit more light on something you touched on, like that's why, to give it another perspective, why you see so many people sponsored by it. It's still, esports is still the Wild West. Like, you still have to find ways to make money because 99% of these companies are constantly in that struggle. Like, EG / Good Game Agency being bought by Amazon was the saving grace that brought us up to legitimacy. But before that, people are like, oh, EG money, EG that. Like, we had a lot of sponsors and we were doing really well, but we were a couple of bad deals or a couple of bad contracts away from like people being shaved off, people being cut, and that did happen. And that even EG was in that state. So that's why you're seeing all these G2A sponsorships. Like, I think a lot of people like Destiny know their shit, but are like, well, if I could make a couple $1,000s this month, I will comfortably live my life, and I'm gonna take that. It's like the thief that steals bread. Who's the real villain here? Kind of. We are talking about a career in playing video games, so I don't quite have the same comparison. But as far as looking into sponsors and how that should reflect on you, it's a really weird and important balance to make. Like, this is the passion and the dream for a lot of people. So a lot of people will say, fuck it, I don't care. If they sell shady gray area things, but I can justify my life of what exactly I want to do, then I'll take their money for a while. And I don't necessarily think those people are super evil. I think it's easy for us as like Destiny, TotalBiscuit, and myself in particular to be here and be like, you should look at sponsorships and make sure they're good ones, because otherwise don't take their money. You know, like, it's a lot harder for somebody else that has way more on the line.
Oh, sure, I get that.
Money.
But ultimately, like, no one is entitled to earn money from video games, right? You know, a
Agreed.
lot of us got pretty damn lucky, but also a lot of us put a shitload of fucking time in. You know, we had a guy in chat who was like, oh, well, you should check your privilege. Well, one, I'm going to laugh at anyone that says that. And second, I mean,
It's my favorite saying in the whole world.
$100,000 of our own money a year into Axiom just to make sure that we got it to the point where we're breaking even.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it's nice that we're getting big sponsors now, but we worked our fucking arse off to get them. It's not like we entered the scene and suddenly we were showered with major international companies. It took us like 6 months to even get a keyboard company to sponsor us. Come on. It takes a lot of work, I'm afraid. And that's why people rely on kind of a donation model instead of a sponsorship model. Mm-hmm. And if you want to take a sponsor from G2A, like, that's kind of your own business, but ultimately you've also got to answer to your viewers, because I think that awareness needs to be raised about sites like G2A. All of this is factual. The fact that they sell gray market keys, the fact that they've been indicted on multiple occasions for selling keys that were acquired via credit card fraud or blatant theft, these are facts. Now, if you're okay with being sponsored by someone like that, that's kind of your own fucking business. But again, you've got to answer to your own audience, and you've got to answer to the scene as well, because some people in the scene are not going to be okay with that. And that's just the reality of it. You took a dodgy sponsor, so some people are not going to be happy with that.
And ultimately, that's where my opinion lies, is I fully agree with John in the sense that, like, a lot of people that are in that struggle state, that's just kind of gaming. Very few people were like, well, I tried out this gaming thing, and gosh darn it, a week later I had 20,000 viewers and was doing great. Like, most people, it's blood off their hands. So if that's the case, and if that's what we understand to be our reality, then when you, as a low or mid-tier streamer or whatever you are in the gaming industry, are approached by G2A, instead of saying yes to the short-term survivability, you should probably play it to the late game and say, no, I'm going to keep busting my ass off. I'm going to eat those fucking ramen noodles. I'm going to watch those Todd goddamn small camera videos and try to figure out how to get my ideas in the way he has. And, you know, it'll pay off in the long term, because there's a lot of people that did get sponsored by G2A. And when it eventually spills over, that it becomes pretty well known that they're flat out murdering the developers, and really kind of they're adding to that terrible connotation with gaming that it's a bunch of shady people doing shady shit. You don't want to be associated with that. You don't want to be a part of that.
Like, I almost sponsors are a big thing in esports, and they always have been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was in thinking about that. Now I'm thinking about Kespa taking deals from Azubu to lock all of their streamers on the platform, though, and it's like, well, maybe it's par for the course.
Well, I mean, that's not too great either, is it? You know, especially considering we know Azubu's shady as fuck. You know, it used to anyway. I don't know what the state is now, but
I think real fast.
Raycall was shady as fuck, guys. We got sponsored by them. Like we had to learn, you know.
Yeah. Well, Todd, what were you gonna say?
You wrote on Twitter that they were spamming your players. Did you mean like the usual emails, and Twitch PMs like on a daily basis? I even saw like one of them like send kind of a bot into one of the channels and like spam shit there. I don't know who runs those. Again, I can't attribute that necessarily to G2A because I have no idea if it was them that actually.
It's probably just somebody trolling them.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
No, I'm just fucking with you. I hate that shit. Oh my god.
They do affiliate programs where they pay people they earn money for everyone they get to sign on.
Yeah, I mean, people before we started doing sub-only chat in my channel, we used to get people who would spam referral links to whatever. It's like, here's our Amazon referral link, so we get a little bit of money that way. G2A's entire business model is basically now based on referrals from big streamers. They'll offer like a 3% discount, which is like nothing.
I wonder
you get a bit of a kickback every time you do it.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of streamers don't even know how G2A operates because G2A looks pretty damn legit. Yeah. Until you realize it's like, how the hell are they selling this brand new game for $20 cheaper than everybody else? It's like, is it because Steam is greedy? No, it's not because Steam is greedy. It's because they got the keys from a cheaper region. And they're never supposed to have those keys in the first place. Right.
All right. So we're going to wrap this one up. TotalBiscuit, just final thoughts, I guess. Team Liquid is sponsored by them. Team Liquid's a very prominent.
Wasn't it Curse that was sponsored by G2A, and they had to, because they merged with Curse, and they had to bring them in, right? If I recall correctly.
I'm actually not sure.
I'm pretty sure that was it, because they never announced being sponsored by G2A, I don't think. They just brought G2A in. And I know there's plenty of G2A shills around the channel and whatever, but I hope that they don't renew it. I really, like, a team as large as that, there's already some large teams being sponsored by G2A. And they're probably being paid a lot of money to do it. And I think that sponsor is harmful in the long run to PC gaming in general, which hopefully we all kind of care about to some degree. And we don't care about our fans in other regions that might get royally fucked if companies and publishers, and they will do this, publishers have been known to cut off their nose to spite their face.
Yeah.
Like, they would often rather see the piracy than have people buying from, like, different regions. You've seen how region locking works on, like, consoles like that. It's pretty crazy. They'll do it. I don't want to see that happen. I don't want, like, my fans in Eastern Europe to get fucked over because the keys that they were buying in their region legitimately in a lower income region suddenly got pulled because these guys want to make a quick buck off reselling keys from cheaper regions to people in richer regions.
Right.
Yep. All right. So we're going to now... Yeah, go ahead.
Just to jump on the coattails real fast, I've heard this argument a lot, and TotalBiscuit mentioned it satirically earlier about how it's a free market, so everything is okay. To some extent, I mean that's absolutely true. It is a free market. You accept whatever sponsorships you want. People sell and buy and trade whatever they want on the internet for whatever they want because it is a free market. But part of the if you want to like dick ride that whole like it's a free market shit. Well, part of the reasons why free markets work, even theoretically, is because there's some degree of responsibility on like the consumers and the sales to vet shady as fuck businesses, so if somebody comes up to you and they're offering you like blood money and shit, yeah, it's a free market, but the free market only works if everybody kind of does their job and policing to some extent, the kind of deals that they take or offer other people. So if you're only taking it because you think that there are no repercussions, I mean, there have been countless examples of, some streams are behind paywalls today. I mean, why? I mean, 85% of people ad block in streams. I don't know if it's directly tied, but maybe it is. A lot of websites move to subscription models and annoying shit like that. So, I mean, to some extent, it becomes kind of like a reap what you sow thing. So you have to be careful that, like, it would suck if, the region locking and everything became a thing, in a couple of years, and we're all looking at each other like, oh, well, how did this happen? This is such bullshit. But then when you look to, like, the streaming world, you see that every single person is offering, like, G2ation, and it's like, oh, well, I guess...
Suddenly that's why these guys in cheaper regions can't have the keys that they can afford now because of that. And then all you get is more piracy, and that just hurts developers, and it's a nasty little cycle,
All right.
But it's it's up to you as a streamer. I'm not going to condemn any streamer for promoting whatever they think is right. Like, it's up to you. It's a personal moral decision. You make that decision.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna.
He will condemn you. He'll judge you.
Well, I'll do it.
I'll condemn you.
I'll do it quietly.
All right, we're going to move now into the Clan Wars. SHOUTcraft Clan War Season 2 is starting tonight. And who are we kicking off with, TotalBiscuit?
We've got YoFlash Wolves versus Prime. So that's two brand new entrants. There were two teams we really wanted in the first Clan Wars, and we never managed to do it. And now we've got both of them. So we thought, hey, let's have the inaugural match with both of those teams. So that's going to be really fun. And we had a couple of lineup changes. We are going to see probably the cheesiest match of all time, Tang versus Haas. Holy shit. I don't even know what's going to happen there. That's going to just be weird. We've got Myungsik playing, Ian's playing Terra, Bung Bung, Vanilla, and we've also got Leanox is in there. Keen's going to be playing Slam. And I believe I mentioned Terra as well. And then we have no idea who's coming out for the ace match. Could be absolutely bloody anybody. So it's going to be really interesting. Seeing Terra and Bung Bung versus Vanilla and Haas. Haas in a 2v2. I don't even know what he's going to do. Like, he's probably going to kill the base, knowing him. Like, he'll have 0 Nexus. You just know, that's just Haas for you.
Yeah.
He destroys his own Nexus and then builds his Nexus in your base. That sounds like Haas to me. Well, I have no idea what he's going to pull off, but it'll be fun. We've got a lot of really cool matches. We're going to see Bung Bung and Vanilla play in Legacy of the Void Beta. And obviously, we haven't seen too many matches as of yet.
Yep.
From Koreans in Legacy of the Void, so we'll see.
No, we haven't. Do you want to tell us real quick, before we go into the maps, you want to tell us the changes, or if there's anything new, like what's on the line, prize-wise, who you're partnering with?
So we're with MLG once again. So this is like the first thing that MLG has done for StarCraft in a long time. They supported Clan Wars Season 1 with $5,000 a month. They're doing the same here. So we're going to get hopefully 10 Clan Wars a month at $500 each. Winner gets 400, loser gets 100, so everyone gets paid. And it's a nice little payday for people for these just kind of smaller, kind of independent. They're pretty much show matches, essentially. I mean, it's not like a league or anything. We're going to have standings on Liquipedia so people can look at stats, but there's no league. People don't get kicked out. You know, there's no like round of 4 tournament format. It's just standalone Clan Wars every week. And we're going to have 2v2, and we're also going to have a Legacy of the Void beta map every single week as well. So that's going to be fun. We did take out Starbow, and we took out SC2 Brood War because, well, nobody practiced for them. So it was utterly pointless. Like, it was a waste of time. They generated terrible matches. So we replaced it with Legacy of the Void beta, and we just said, hey, let's just make some better Heart of the Swarm maps that are really interesting, and let's see what happens there. So
Is Starbow still a thing?
Yeah. It's still around. Yeah, they're still doing like weekly tournaments for Starbow, but it's okay. I don't know. The hype. I think it had this weird hype explosion on Reddit, and then people just forgot about it. So,
all right. So let's we're gonna go down and review all the maps that are gonna be in Clan Wars. Some pretty exciting looking ones. This one, just we were talking about it before the show, and it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So Crazy Clash. Walk us through it, TotalBiscuit.
Well, Crazy Clash is full of stuff to completely fuck you over in a big way. And if people haven't practiced the map, they're going to end up in some really horrible spots. So you see all those like weird-looking tower-looking things up to the northwest. They're all neutral missile turrets. If you fly anything into that, it's dead. It's that simple. And the only way to access the gold base is by unlocking some bridges. The problem with unlocking that bridge is it also unlocks a bridge directly into your main. So you've got to take a bit of risk. Do you want access to the early gold base? How badly do you want it? And do you want to open up a second attack path for your opponent? Because that will happen. As you can see, there's 3 gold mineral bases. And there's also a line of sight blocking like maze-like forest. Actually, there's 4 gold bases to the southeast. And there's a healing shrine. There's this little circle. You stand on the healing shrine, you get HP back. So you can actually you can have a fight there and you can have units healing themselves. And there's all sorts of bridges with bridge controls that can be destroyed to unlock them. And at 15 minutes, all of the bridges open. So there's all sorts of crazy stuff you're going to try and handle on that map. It's going to be bonkers. It's probably going to be the hardest map to master because there's so much going on with it.
That is awesome.
It's kind of like a Heroes of the Storm meets StarCraft kind of mechanics map.
That was what we're looking for. There's a big Skype group that designs maps, and I asked them, one of you, go completely fucking hog wild. Like,
someone go ham.
Idea you've got, put it in and see if it works. We'll try it.
That's really sick. I'll watch the fuck out of that.
Yeah, that's my hope anyway. You know, I'm hoping that a lot of people will.
All right, so we're gonna go next to Peninsula.
Peninsula, yes. This is not quite as crazy, but it does have. It's got, and this is something that I think Pro League and Casper experimented with. It's got wall-offs made of almost depleted mineral patches, and they also have an egg in each of them, and you can mineral walk through that egg. So you can scout on this map, but you can't get an army through it until you've kind of mined your way through that block. But you could like mineral walk and cannon rush, or you could ninja expand. It also has hybrid bases. All of the bases on the map have 3 patches of blue and 3 patches of gold. So It's going to completely fuck up every timing in the game.
That is pretty insane. All right. That's going to be some fast-paced, like, I actually don't know. Rush to air from a lot of people, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I'd do that. If you had access to gold, I think Banshee play is going to be really popular there. You might see some Phoenix play as well. But I have no idea what to expect. We'll see, because the meta's going to develop on this over time. And I imagine that, I'm going to be honest, the first few maps are probably going to be terrible. Like, the last, I think it was the first few Clan Wars we had, Season 1, I think it was actually Jadong that didn't realize, like, one of the ways that the maps were set up, and he just died as a direct result. It can happen. Like, these guys are going to have to figure them out. It's going to take quite a bit of work from the players.
It's going to be crazy. All right, I'm going to put you on the spot, Todd. Looking at this map right now, what TotalBiscuit was saying, that you can scout through it, but you can't move until you've mined out these almost depleted mineral patches. If you were on this map right now, you didn't have any time to really prep for it, what would your first go-to build be? In a PVZ.
I'd be happy because I don't attack much, so I'd just be trying to macro it up, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's very hard first time you play a map like this to make the right adjustments. Usually it takes like a lot of picturing and imagining what it's gonna be like, trying to make some calculations. But I don't know. Even like that, like I feel like it's not nearly enough information. I already kind of want to play it to try and get a feel on it, and I already feel like from the first game you're gonna play on it, you're gonna learn a lot. So if players are already informed that they're gonna be playing on these maps, if I were them, I would be definitely looking to practice and get used of them.
Yeah, every team got 2 weeks in advance notice of the map pool for their particular match. So if they haven't practiced it, then we're going to figure that out pretty fast, because they're going to have no idea what they're doing.
How are you choosing their maps?
I just pick them myself, like at random. What happens is we have a schedule. 3 weeks before, we put a date on the calendar that everyone shares, and everyone gets to sign up. So if your team is available, you put a yes under the calendar. If your team's not available, you put a no. 2 weeks beforehand, we announce the map pool. 1 week beforehand is the deadline for them to submit players. So they know the map pool 2 weeks in advance, and they know their opponent's team 1 week in advance.
Okay.
So it's Pro League style, basically. That's the same thing that Pro League does.
Gotcha. All right, next one is Kilskada, I believe. That's how you say that?
Kliskada, I believe.
Okay.
I think it means like something like Ice Storm or something like that in some Scandinavian language. This is a more standard map. It's basically inspired by King Sejong Station. And it's a bit interesting because of the number of narrow choke points and collapsible rock towers, and also which third you're going to take. So we didn't go full crazy on all of the maps, because that would just be a little bit ridiculous. So we do have some more standard maps, but this one is probably going to play out quite similar to King Sejong, which I think had some amazing games on it. But they have removed the air vulnerability from, because King Sejong had a big air vulnerability on spaces. That's kind of been removed now. But there's a lot of different attack paths on this map, so it's going to be interesting to see whether people can figure them out.
Cool. All right, next, no rising lava on this one?
No, that's later.
Okay, all right.
God. I had to play that because I'm the lamb in our lineup, so they were like, all right, Jeff, go out on that wonky map.
Go on New Polaris.
I had a bridge collapse on me or retract on me. I had lava fall on my face. It was great. I had a good time.
All right, next one up is Engines of War.
This is going to be really weird because this has controllable neutral structures on it. It has 3 cannons, giant fucking cannons. They're like planetary fortresses, but they have like the range of a siege tank. And you can take control of these things, and you can use it to basically zone out your opponent. So whoever's able to take those is going to be able to limit where their opponents can expand, and there's probably going to be a lot of fights around that area as well.
How do you claim them?
You basically
just like that, guys.
Just like a Zelnaga Watchtower.
Okay.
Just like that, TotalBiscuit reinvented StarCraft 2.
It's probably going to be terrible. You have no idea. Like, it's going to be absolutely awful. But yeah, that's what it has. So we have no idea how it's going to play out. If people will even use them, if they'll realize what they do, I guess we're going to find out.
Awesome. All right, next one is... I have no idea how to say this. Thank you. All right, let's find that photo. There we go. Lay it on us.
Orichalcum is, again, one of the more standard maps. It's not too crazy. You're going to have a choice of third, for instance. You might want to maybe grab the gold. You have some fairly vulnerable bases to sieging. So you got to watch out for that. And it's going to be a map that people are going to have to really understand the attack paths, because it's really easy to be caught completely off guard by like a siege force or whatever and just lose a base completely. There's a lot of vulnerable mineral lines that could be very easily attacked from like the low ground here. So you got to watch out for that. Yeah, gaining control of the high ground and the different attack paths on this map is going to be key. And it also has neon ramps because they look awesome. So
it does. All right, next one up is Suncross.
Suncross is basically you've got far spawn locations. You can spawn at one of 3 possible far spawns, and it starts off fairly reasonably. Like you can get up to a quick third pretty easily without too much of a problem. The problem is after the third base, you've got these 4 fairly close by bases in the middle that they've got a lot of bridges. So if you have zone control units, if you're good with force fields, if you've got storm and things like that, you're going to be able to control those areas really well. But the back mineral lines are really vulnerable to harass.
I can see some good nuke harass on those.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Just you could drop a nuke on one of those very easily. So it's going to be good for those who have a lot of AoE units. It's going to be good for those that understand zone control, because they're going to be able to do some really cool things with the bridges and the attack paths around there. But that's going to be more of a macro-orientated map, I think.
Yeah, definitely. All right, next one up is Neo Emerald Plaza.
Absolute metric ton of collapsible rock towers and basically things to work your way through. We want at least one map that had a lot of rocks on it, because we do love our...
Router.
Yep, absolutely. Router map. So lots and lots and lots and lots of rocks. And there are loads of attack paths that you can eventually open up. So people are going to have to realize which attack paths are going to be opened at what times. It's going to be timings based on how fast you can make your way through the rocks. So I'm interested to see how that works. It's going to be a really weird map in terms of its flow.
Awesome. Next one up is Ice Palace, or Ice Realm. So we're now on the 2v2 maps.
Yeah, so we decided to expand our map pool for 2v2 to 3 because we had Sacred Path, which was a really weird map. But people said, well, can we have some maps that have in-base, like shared bases for 2v2 instead of them being separate? So like, yeah, we can do that. So Ice Realm, its particular gimmick is it has a bunch of energy gateways. They close and open themselves every 2 minutes, which completely alters the available attack paths for you. So every 2 minutes, the map is basically a different map.
I like that.
That's going to be interesting. You've got a lot of minerals in base, so you have access to like 3 mineral fields in base, and it's a shared base scenario. But there are 2 available attack paths into each of the mains, and they're going to be opened up by gateways and things like that. So
everyone in chat, this is happening tonight. Like the game is going tonight.
It's going to happen in 2.5 hours. We're playing this, so. And
it's going to be going on for all year, right? What's the?
Yeah, that's the plan. We're going to do 7 Clan Wars this month, hopefully 10 next month, and 10 every month till the end of the year.
Kick ass. So before we move to the next map, someone in chat wanted to know: is there a place on in game right now that we can get to these maps to play them?
Yep, it's available on every server. Just search for SHOUTcraft. You'll find all the ones from Season 1, which included the bridge map, where iNcontrol's units fell off the bridge into the acid, and everyone was very happy with that. And it's also got all of the Season 2 maps as well.
Not everyone, John.
Maynard, what do you think of this map?
Hate him.
Of this map in particular?
Yeah, the closing paths.
The closing paths one. I mean, I can just talk about all the maps right now, man. Like I was just thinking in my brain, every Friday night, my friends and I, we get drunk and we play StarCraft together. And not all of them have Legacy of the Void, so we can't like play customs against each other. But I think I know what we're drinking and playing this Friday.
Yeah, play some SHOUTcraft maps.
It might be SHOUTcraft customs. It certainly looks like it's going to be something that'll meld well with whiskey shots. And
yes, yeah.
Well, the 2v2 one that's coming up next will be very good if you're drinking. Let me put it that way.
All right, well,
I'm seeing huge potential for fun Friday night game.
Deck 16 now.
Inspired by an Unreal Tournament map, and also made in the spirit of Season 1's map, New Polaris Rhapsody, which we actually saw at the Red Bull Battlegrounds. They did play it. One of the only tournaments that ever played New Polaris Rhapsody. This is New Polaris Rhapsody on crack. It's that, but it's a 2v2 map, and every 4 minutes, deadly acid will raise up and destroy everything on the low ground.
Yay.
Just all dies instantly. And you've got to be aware of that acid surge every 4 minutes. And there are a lot of cool attack paths that you can use on the low ground that are really easy to get your opponent's base. But if the acid pops up while you're there, your entire army is going to die. So you might want to watch out for that.
What do you think, Todd?
I'm very scared.
Funnily enough, a lot of Protoss players liked playing New Polaris Rhapsody because they could avoid most of the bullshit because they could just warp in on the high ground. So they had no problem.
Yeah.
But the other races, I think we saw Katz ran about 17 of his own drones into the lava, if I recall correctly. Like half his mineral line just died. So it's pretty brutal. You've got to be aware of that. You do get timers telling you it's going to happen, but if you're out in the middle of nowhere when the acid comes up, you're dead.
Thank God for
How long is
medevacs.
the timer? Like
Every 4 minutes.
Yeah, but like you get the timer.
A warning?
How long before the acid actually comes up?
Well, it starts at the 2-minute mark, so you can do your initial scout, and then every 4 minutes it comes up, and I think you get a warning about 5 seconds before the acid pops.
What the fuck? That's nothing.
Of course this isn't. Where's the fun in that? I'm not going to tell you, like, hey, guys, you got about a minute to get out of the acid. Screw that.
All right, last map is Neo Skywalker.
Yeah, this is Dustin Browder's Dream 2v2 map. This map allows you to collapse rock towers on mineral lines. It has rock towers guarding what are basically gold mineral bases in the middle. You can take them, but if you don't guard them properly, someone can collapse a rock tower on it. And if I haven't seen this work, but I think it actually destroys the mineral patches if you collapse rocks on top of them. So that will be interesting. I'm intrigued to see how that works. But that, again, has a lot of collapsible rocks and things like that, which are going to dictate the attack paths. I'm interested to see if anyone actually risks taking those bases in the middle. I can't imagine they will, but we'll see.
That is awesome. I really like that one. Cool. So again, everyone, just to reiterate, that's the first iteration is going tonight. It's Yo Flash Wolves against who?
It's Yo Flash Wolves against Prime, and we've got a Legacy of the Void match happening as well. That's going to be on Coda, so we're going to see how.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Cool. So definitely check that out. We'll be hosting. Is that going to be on your channel, TotalBiscuit?
It'll be on MLG.TV/SHOUTcraft. There'll also be reruns all day. So if you miss it, it's just going to rerun immediately afterwards. So that MLG.TV has a couple of cool features that Twitch doesn't have, and one of them is reruns. You can literally set something to rebroadcast over and over again in its original format. So you can be watching what looks like a live show, and it's actually like a replay of something that appeared previously. So you'll be able to do that. And if you still miss that and you don't want to watch the stream, we're going to have spoiler-free VODs on my YouTube channel, TotalBiscuit.
Okay, so there's nothing on Twitch that we could host then?
Nope, not a damn thing on Twitch, I'm afraid. MLG is paying for the whole event. They're paying $5,000 a month. So yeah, we're going to use their platform.
Absolutely.
That seems fair.
$60,000 a year, yeah, we'll use that platform.
Right?
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. So maybe Crank will be streaming after them. We'll give it to him. But so cool. I'm excited for Clan Wars. How do you think Axiom's going to do? Who's your first matchup?
I think I'm giving them Startail. They actually, I'm pretty sure, lost every single matchup in the last Clan War, so they better get their shit together, frankly. But we're dragging Soulkey into it, so we're going to see how he plays. I'm interested to see Soulkey play on one of those crazy maps.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for it. So, again, what time is it starting tonight?
That's going to be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is in 2 hours, 20 minutes on MLG.TV/SHOUTcraft. And I'll be casting that one solo, but we'll be bringing in various casters. I think Nathanius said he wanted to cast a few. Todd, I think you cast with me last season, didn't you, on a couple of these?
Yeah, I think you invited everybody, almost.
Pretty much.
Everybody to cast with you.
Yeah, almost.
Okay, Jeff, all right.
No, it's okay, John. It's fine.
They need you, man. EG needs you.
Yeah.
You've got a match against Team Ascension on, I think, the 7th.
Well, then I won't cast the one I'm playing in, John, but I guess that leaves me available for everything else. So,
all right. No problem.
2 hours.
You want to cast
We're
tonight?
actually going to be running our own tournament called the YellCraft Special. We have our own tournament. It's going to be way better than Total Shitters tournament. So, if you guys want to check that out.
All right, so we're going to now move into the final segment of the show tonight. Before we do questions, we're going to talk Legacy of the Void. Now, we didn't have Todd or TotalBiscuit here last week when we got our...
Oh, you don't need my opinion. I'm fucking shit.
Well, I mean, you pay attention. You're a smart guy, so, we are going to want your opinions. But let's go to Todd first. Todd, what have you done so far, and what do you think?
I played a bunch of games, and Protoss is pretty tough. I don't know any other way to say it, man. I played against Zerg, I got demolished by Ravager. And against Terran, I already thought that, Medivacs, Reapers, they are like very fast units that are hard to deal with. But no, I got fucking Cyclone to worry about. So it's pretty hard. But after playing a little bit more, I'm already doing a little bit better. But yeah, it seems like a much better, faster-paced game, you know, and I think that's good for the game.
Have you found a use for the Adept yet? There are some people that really don't like it. Artosis very happy about the unit, really likes it. You have any thoughts on it?
I'm having a hard time figuring out how you mix it in a unit composition. Like, how does it help, better than some other units? But as a harassment or counter harassment units, I think it's pretty good. One thing that I really like to do is when I'm about to be attacked, I send in adepts in every single mineral line because they take down walkers very, very quickly. And you can walk through units and get them there safely. So if you do that pretty well, like for example, today I played against Apollo on ladder, and he was playing mech, and he was about to hit his very big attack. So I did that. I sent a War Prism in the main, adepts in natural and third. And then while he was attacking me, he was losing like 1 trillion walkers. All I had to do was hold his attack, which I barely did, and then I won the game. So I think it can be a good way to use them as well. And like, if you think about it, there is really no very good counter for it for other races too, because you can't really make a bunker and leave units back at home in each mineral line. Zerg is gonna have, I guess, some drones and queen, but it's very annoying. You have to pull them away and stuff. So, yeah.
What did you? So, did you use your actual name on the ladder?
Well, I put the barcodes. Like I think when I connected to the game, I select the barcode, but it doesn't even care. Like it still saves your name from the launcher. So everybody that presses the top right hand side thing, I'm Todd. So
no, it's not even that. Like my first ever Legacy of the Void game was against you, Todd. And I was like, oh, it's a barcode. Cool, here we go. And then I moused over one of your units, and it said Todd underneath it.
Oh, yeah, as well.
And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Did you have a heart attack before losing?
That was fun. I quit Terran.
When you queue up and you get the game and you're loading the map, it actually shows the person's actual name too.
Yep.
And then when you load in, it tries to switch to their. If they type, it switches to their whatever their Legacy Void name is.
Yeah. So the reason I asked because yesterday I played a barcode and it was parting. Everyone started jumping into my stream saying you're playing parting, and let me tell you, I beat his ass. I'm totally kidding. I didn't at all.
Subtle brag.
He destroyed me.
One of his units, right?
No, but he tried to use the stasis. He tried to use the stasis ward on my. No, I killed his adept, but he tried to use the stasis ward on my mineral line, and I was very proud that I reacted fast enough to not, get that all frozen up. The stasis ward is long. I don't know. Maybe it's too long. That's a long time for.
Oh, shut your face.
Says the guy.
Pretty long. That's a pretty long.
Yes, it is a long time.
Yeah.
And they can't be hurt while it's happening, and they're still dealing. I mean, yes, it's really powerful, guys. There's no one that's going to be like, Stasis Ward needs a buff. It's really powerful. And Protoss is still not placing in the top 8 of all the online tournaments. In fact, they're not winning like any.
That's true. I mean, can you point to a single Legacy of the Void tournament won so far by Pro?
No. There's been several, Destiny. You should wake up for them. They happen before 4 p.m. your time.
So, all right. I will say that in the Lycan League last week, we had the Legacy of the Void tournament that was ZVZ almost all the way to the end. But this week, we had an advancement. QXC made it to the finals. So, Bly is still the final boss of online tournaments, and he won. But
why am I not surprised the QXC figured shit out quicker than other people?
Right? It was incredible games. The last game of the series, QXC went mech, and it was awesome. The Swarm host, it's really powerful. I don't know. What do you think, Steven? Have you had a chance to play with it? It seemed a little still too powerful.
The Swarm host?
Yeah. The damage output is. No?
The damage output is good, but it seems like if your opponent knows you're making any amount of Storm Host, or they just play aggressively and lean into you, it seems like you're gonna get fucked. It's just too much supply to have sitting doing nothing. I guess if both players are being really passive, then I didn't see the games. Were both people playing like relatively?
No, it was active. There were constant run bys from both players. It was a very fast paced game, and then Bly got Swarm Hosts near the end, and just that destroyed his tanks and Hellbats. And he wasn't being not aggressive with the tanks. He was making forward pushes and all that, but the DPS from the Swarm Host just killed all his reinforcements.
Huh. I haven't used him enough then to verify that or to understand that myself. Then they always look really like inefficient to me just because how much supply they eat up and how expensive they were. So I haven't made them as much.
A lot of the ways the people have been using them on streams that I've watched is like basically every 60 seconds you kill a Nexus. If it was a Hearthstone card, it would be like 10 mana. You kill one creature, and then they sit there for a fucking minute doing absolutely nothing.
Sure.
There's
like, okay, I mean, that sounds decent enough, but like Steven was saying, like, it's what, 4 supplier swarm hosts now, and they launch the shit every 60 seconds and then just run around looking like idiots. That does seem a bit of a risk.
5 of them are 20 supply. That's 10 hydras or 10 roaches or.
And hydras are good now too. They fucking buffed them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the unit is. We saw the cats. I think it was the first game that we casted for the last week's Lycan League, and it was cats, and he did some swarm host shenanigans. I think off 2 bases. It was pretty quick, pretty early in the game, and he just kept sniping production structures. But
all right.
So okay. What about the Ravager? I mean, we know that it's powerful. Steven, have you had a different experience with it?
The first couple of days, the Ravager was insanely fucking retardedly strong because nobody really knew how to play with it. So it was really funny to just watch people lose their entire army. It seems like now there's just kind of like a meta that evolves around, you know, like you attack and then you back up and you attack and then you back up. So I haven't actually played over the past couple of days because I've been trying to play. I went full iNcontroL and now I'm playing Bloodborne. You know, got to channel my inner council demon. So I haven't played Legacy of the Void as much over the well, I haven't played it all over the past few days. But when I started to play with the Ravager, like later on, like days like 3 and 4 of the beta, it seemed like other people were doing a lot better in terms of like mitigating the damage from the spell. I'm thinking mainly in terms of ZVZ. ZVZ, it seemed like people were using the Ravager quite a bit, which was interesting because I think it's a much better unit to defend with than attack with because you can zone off an area very easily. And if your opponent has Ravagers, he can zone you off, and attacking into it is something that's kind of confusing, or at least for me, it's really difficult to do.
So what
Can
about...
I ask a question? I just want to ask a question quickly. So you're saying that Protoss are holding Ravager rushes now?
When I was playing, it seemed like Protosses were doing a lot better at dealing with them. I still hear
Can I just ask, like, how? Because I honestly don't know if they hold Ravager Rush.
They can hold, whereas before it was like invincible. But just today I was watching Showtime stream, and Winter StarCraft absolutely fucking demolished him with a Ravager Roach Rush. Now, that in and of itself is amazing, but let me just reiterate. Winter StarCraft.
You know, we almost went the whole show without bringing him up. Like, we almost went the whole show.
Almost.
No.
The specific.
You know what? Replace Winter. I'm not talking about Viewbots. John Platinum demolished Showtime with Ravagers. So when we're talking balance, I agree with Destiny. It's not like every time a Protoss plays, we're like, oh, fuck, Ravagers, and they just die. It still does happen. But what the Ravager problem is right now is that they themselves, as Destiny said, in a different area, have like their own inbuilt meta because the Ravager exists as such an early option and so cost effectively for Zerg. Protoss have to take that into account. So they're thinking, well, God, I should open up Stargate, and I have to open up Stargate because then I'll have Void Rays or, to a lesser extent, Oracles to deal with Ravagers. But at the same time, I need to rush to Disruptor because if they either just mass Ravagers to the point where it doesn't fucking matter if you have 3 or 4 Void Rays, then they bring Queens or shit, whatever Hydras they can afford. Then they'll just do the other things too, where like if you do have 4 Void Rays and you don't switch too fast, they can show up with mutas. All the regular problems, I'm not going to go down the list, but the fact of the matter is the Ravager issue is just that they're so powerful so early on, and cannons and stack defense and force fields won't hold them on their own, your own natural defenses. You have to do tech-specific responses to the potential of the Ravager. Right. And a lot of people are like, well, just scout it out earlier. And it's like, okay. So then I'm rushing out a sentry or two, which could be obsolete. So, like, let's say I throw a hallucination at him. I'm like, oh, God, he is going Ravager. Well, good game. That's great. I have these 2 sentries that take away from Stargate Tech or Robotech that I need to defend against that to scout out something that hits so fast that I'm dead. Then people are like, well, what about the Adept? This is my favorite. This is the buzzword in chats right now for Twitch, by the way. This is the new, like, you should be going Adept. I saw someone kill 10 Marines with 17 Adepts. It was really great. And you're like, like, don't say that, please. And like, shut up. I saw someone do it once. Adepts don't get there fast, or they get there too fast, excuse me, and then they can't stick around because they get in, sure, but when they get speed, which is the natural opening for Zerg, most cases, or even just Queens, the Adept dies as well. So that's the bind that Protoss are in right now. Go ahead.
There was one other thing that Destiny did to me when we were playing Archon mode. I think it was Destiny. You were playing with Caitlin.
Yeah.
You fucker. Me and Crank thought you were going for a Ravager rush. It ended up being fucking tunneling roaches at about the 5-minute mark when we had no fucking protection and we just died as Protoss. It's like you've got to watch out for that as well.
So the meta definitely has to develop a little bit more to know exactly for sure like how things are going to play out. But it seems a little bit crazy. I think the biggest problem with the Ravager, and actually I bet even Jeff would probably agree with this, the biggest problem with the Ravager seems to be that you could like the build time on them is like 7 seconds or something really fucking crazy. Like you could have like outside your base, like you talk about scouting, like
Absolutely.
you send out a unit and you've got like 32 roaches and it's like, all right, I'm about to fuck this kid up. Like I'm totally ready. And then you go out and you scout like 10 seconds later and it's like 16 roaches and 16 ravagers. And it's like, oh fuck, I'm totally fucked.
So do you think that Lair Tech would be like a really good...
When I first played this game, I played Archon mode with Caitlin and she said we were going to do a Ravager rush. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And she gave me like my 12 roaches. And like, I was like, I think I was like at the enemy's base. I was like, dog, like, where the fuck is our lair? Like, how are we going to do this? She's like, what, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, what? Yeah, I didn't actually know that for the first 2 days. So I was actually rushing Ravager on Lair Tech and killing people with it. But yeah, you don't even need Lair to build it. I think that, I kind of think you should. That seems a little bit crazy that, like, we're getting into Hellion territories of ridiculous here.
Like, seriously.
Yeah. It's... like when you can upgrade, you could get burrow. You get burrow for your roaches, right? And then on hatchery, you have tunneling claws, super speed, NASCAR, underground roaches, subways into the base, and then you can unburrow them and like build ravagers like on hatch tech. That seems a little bit crazy, I think.
Right.
What about the? Go ahead.
The Ravager itself is really powerful and great, and I'm fine with that. It's like. A lot of people need to know, like, especially Legacy of the Void, they're balancing towards extremes. They want super powered units because they're trying to return to a pseudo Brood War level, which is that there were fucking god units in Brood War. There was units that were just really strong, but they were balanced out through like maps and times. And that's what I would like for the Ravager. Like, you don't need to make it do less damage. It doesn't need to cost twice as much. Just it has to come when the game's a little bit more developed, which is already kind of in flux, right? With the new economies, what is time right now? Like that too is something we're starting to figure out. It's just either like a costed upgrade or a layer or something that delays them. I do think their morph time, as Steven said, should be reduced. That's just silly. Like they plant and they're out like 6 seconds later, and it's like, no, make that a normal additional build time, like 20 seconds or 25 for fuck's sake.
Compared to how long it takes to get lurkers out, like it almost seems like there should be a bit of a role reversal. I'm not suggesting lurkers on hatch tech is a good idea. It's not, but it takes fucking forever to get lurkers out. You got to do so much shit. Like, you got to murph the Hydra Den. That's, what, 70 seconds. Then you've got to murph the Hydras that you built. That's another fucking... That takes even longer than Ravagers do. And then by the time you've built them, it's like, oh, it's carries in my base. I'm dead or whatever. But
there's no point making lurkers right now, I don't think. Like,
yeah, that's a shame because they're a really fun unit. But Crank was playing a lot of Zerg, and he can't figure out a use for them yet. He's trying to, but it's like, well... yeah, like... why does he just build Ravagers and kill them? You know, that seems better.
All right, so let's see. Is there any other?
Oh, fuck. The biggest problem with lurkers, I think, I was muted this whole time. I'm trying to talk and everybody's ignoring me. I was getting really mad for a second. It seemed like the biggest problem with lurkers is like, and I remember I said this, a lot of people were saying this, not just me, a lot of people were saying this, is like the biggest thing that lurkers did in ZVT and Brood War is, I mean, aside from like all of the positioning games you play with them, is it lets you defend and it lets you attack bio. But I mean, like, I have banelings that do that now. Like, why the fuck do I need, like, I don't need 10 lurkers, you know, eating up all the supply and all this gas and shit to defend against Marine bio bullshit.
They're really nice if you're a bad player. Let me put it that way. I just put a few on my ramp and forget about them. It's great. They just keep running Marines at them. It's like, what's happening? I don't understand.
It seems so. Not only like does it seem like it's hard to make them work, you also have to play like an entire game like geared towards getting lurkers, which means you're probably playing like Roach, Ravager, Hydra as well versus Terran, which doesn't seem to work out as well. I hesitate. Maybe someone else experienced something different, but Ravager seems really fucking bad against bio. It's like they just stim into you and like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and kill you now.
They're pretty light. They die fast, but I mean, it's a big if, obviously. But if you can hit them with the AOE, they'll melt an army.
Yeah, but the problem is like the bio is so quick. Like you stim and you just run away. It's not like.
And they just run into you. There's no penalty for getting closer. Mm-hmm. Whereas with other compositions, the closer you get, the more roaches are doing damage to you. But against bio, that's not as big of a deal at all. The medevacs.
All right, so I think that we're gonna wrap up the show. There's a lot more obviously to talk about with Legacy of the Void, but we're low on time. So we're gonna go into the questions right now.
Okay.
Boom.
Immediately, at this very moment.
At this very moment. All right.
Right now.
Now. All right. So, TotalBiscuit, are you going to do a What the Fuck is Legacy of the Void anytime soon?
Maybe when it comes out, sure. But doing it at the beta right now is completely pointless because I'm a terrible player and can't give you any useful information about
And it's going to be
That's
changed
not why.
a lot.
It's because it'll be completely irrelevant maybe 2 weeks later.
You know, that seems like a good idea.
All right. Do you have any plans for a SHOUTcraft Invitational or something like it again?
A new one? Yeah, absolutely. We want to do another SanDisk Invitational. That would be amazing. And because it was, it was a great tournament, everyone seemed to love it. So yeah, Clan Wars is the priority right now. But if someone runs along with $10,000 and says, make me a tournament that's as good as SanDisk, then I can probably do that as long as the Pro League guys are available to play. If they're not, might not be as good. But yeah, we'd love to get some more of the Casper teams involved this time as well.
Would you accept donations for a tournament like that, like for prize pool stuff, or just sponsor money?
God, this caster money is getting out of hand.
Like, I just don't.
Yeah, like I have so much caster money, man. I just need to throw it around,
Yeah,
like, I need to find it.
Some of that gold bullion that you keep in your Aussie den over there would be great.
It's like $10,000. Would you accept a donation? Jesus Christ!
I think it's kind of unfair to ask for money when there's other ways to get it. Like, we have the contacts and we have like a kind of a money of our own that we could put towards a tournament. I'd rather people donate to smaller organizations that maybe need it more than we do. Plus,
Sure.
I think
You say donate, but just crowdfunded, right?
well, that's the same thing. But
Exactly. But
it's just named in a slightly more friendly way.
yes.
But I think that I think smaller organizations should be rewarded and they should be helped out more. We can get it other ways. And here's the thing: us running the SanDisk Invitational is what got us the SanDisk sponsorship. Like, we ran the Invitational and then we brought a sponsor into StarCraft. If we can keep doing that, then that's good for the scene, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes. I just needed something to do with my G2A money, like.
right.
We will not do it with G2A. No,
All right.
No, my G2A money.
You have a fucking adorable logo. You're just as bad as they are. No. You can put anybody in Hearthstone where they don't care.
All right. All right. So Todd and InControl. If you used Archon mode to 2v1 against life, could you take a single map off him in a best of 7?
In Heart of the Swarm?
I assume. Well, we'll go with
TV's maps, yes, we could take several maps.
Just don't tell them about any of the stuff that happens. It'll be
Right.
fine.
All right. Maynard and TotalBiscuit. If you used Archon mode to 2v2 against Todd and InControl, could they take a single map off of you in a best of 9?
No. Could they take a single map off of us? I think is what the question
Yeah, I
is.
think that's
Okay.
what you're trying to ask.
Not a
If people are honestly considering TotalBiscuit and myself to be better players than InControl and Todd, that's they haven't been watching enough StarCraft. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe Cyclones are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ravager Rush.
Todd, answer this one for us.
Yeah, you've played me, Todd. How would I go?
He's dead.
He's muted.
Rip.
Todd.
You guys against me and InControl?
Yeah.
To win a map in a best of 7? I don't
If
think
we
so.
were both Terran and you guys are both Protoss, and we could both make Cyclones. And
Well, you can only be one race because it's still like,
Oh, right, because it's Archon mode. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, my bad. Yeah, okay.
I don't think so.
I don't
But
think
then
so
again, I haven't played against TV. Maybe he's got like.
Hey, I've switched to Zerg now. I'm a force to be reckoned with. I can build Ravagers.
Okay, then you definitely can win more than one map.
All right. TotalBiscuit. Have you considered selling some more Axiom merch? This gentleman would like a poster.
We could. I mean, we need to come up with some original artwork for it. Like, I think like a poster with just our logo on it would be lame as shit. So we need someone to come up with some really cool artwork with the players on or something like that. But
You know the
we ran out of hats. We sold all the hats, so we need to make more hats. So we'll restock those definitely.
the guy who does the weekly All In that I don't know how to say his last name. It's French, but Nicolas Chossois.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he does some pretty sick stuff. I don't know if you've seen that art or that newspaper.
Did he do your really weird intro that makes me question life?
No, that was realism.
He was
Okay.
like, no, I did that.
It took me 7 months.
I don't know what I'm watching that intro. Like, what is this?
I love that intro. I am very
It's great. It's just freaking the fuck out.
All right, so let's see, Todd. How did you manage to keep yourself somewhat composed during that last game with Haas?
I didn't. If you watch the highlight video, you will see that I didn't. I kind of lost it myself. Like at first, I was really trying to stay as pro and focused as possible, but Skylights broke me.
No, so there was this one part though where you're talking and Kalaris is losing it, and I felt like you were kind of egging him on because you're like, "What is it, Kalaris? It's just a dark shrine. It's just a dark shrine." Like you kept repeating that. I thought you were kind of.
No, I said it jokingly. Like I always do that. Like when when I call something and then it ends up like the player ends up doing something different, I'm always like, oh, of course he would do that. Why wouldn't he? I mean,
right.
And in this case, it was Haas, so I was like, of course he's gonna go Dark Shrine. So yeah, I was like, joking around it, but I did not expect he will break down like this.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that funny. Kalaris must have been tired or something.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
All right,
but I think it wasn't just the Dark Shrine. Like it was like every call that we were making, he was playing up like otherwise. He kept on doing crazy builds. And even like, I think the photon of a charge also cracked us up because like 2 Widow Mines dropped. He was looking away. He wasn't paying attention. Then both of the Widow Mines blew up a lot of probes. And then you had this noise from the photon of a charge that just started. And I think that's also like, that was what started really breaking him. Because even like in front of us, we had like the analysts, like the guys from the panel. And they started laughing really hard. And like, even like Apollo and stuff. So just looking at them losing it, it kind of made him lose it as well.
All right.
Cass is a funny player. He's like violently cheesy to degrees that we haven't seen in a long time.
He is Inca crossed with bit by bit in ultimate Protoss form.
That's a good comparison.
Wow.
Inca was always DTs though, so that was even more hilarious, and it worked all the way to like a GSL final. Like that was the funny part about him. He was cheesy, but it was always DTs.
Now it's going to be DTs.
Haas is everywhere. Haas is gold base, 3 gates, cancel 3 gates. No, fuck it, 7 gates.
One time. Wasn't that against Jaedong actually?
Where he knocked Jaedong out. It was horrific.
Pylons and built cannons. It was ridiculous.
He did a 7 pylon cannon rush wall in, and any Zerg that's not a robot Korean looks at that and cancels and is like, "All right, you spend 1,000 minerals to get a canceled hatch." Like, but Koreans are like, "This doesn't make sense. Why are you doing this? This is bad." And Haas is like, "This is all I know." And then and that's it.
All right. So this is going to be to all, but I'm going to kick it to iNcontroL. How involved are the pros in the development of the game? So for balancing new units, etc., and Legacy of the Void, like, is there a purely forum-based thing and everyone puts in their 2 cents, or is there like a secret Skype group?
No, they're like David Kim and stuff. Like some of those guys reach out to pros and ask them questions and stuff like that. But I think that's been more subdued in Legacy of the Void. They did a lot of that in HOTS, I know in particular, and I know that like Todd in particular reached out to them and they asked for content, and they definitely created a forum because they're interested in a lot of feedback, and they monitor games in development in particular. But there's no like Illuminati, this person influenced the development of Legacy of the Void that's outside of Blizzard. This is very much so until someone tells me otherwise.
As far as you know.
So I don't have to worry about you guys, getting my Cyclone changed too much then.
Well, I mean, you keep joking about it, but yeah, it's certainly going to get changed.
I don't think he is joking. I think he actually likes the Cyclone the way
he
it is.
can.
I can't believe it.
That would be the worst thing a host could do. Is like, I like this super imbalanced broken unit. It's totally fine. It's like,
that would be terrible.
Blizzard, I think they used to be like fairly, disconnected from the scene compared to now. Like they used to only use the forums, and then I know that like David Kim on his own tries to talk to a few people here and there. I was one of them for some time, but nowadays there is guys like Sion on Twitter and stuff that's like not only giving out some information and doing like a little bit of a link between what's happening at Blizzard, but even like trying to collect feedback. I know I've heard of like 1 or 2 Skype groups. I'm not part of them, but I've heard that like, they use that to communicate a little bit between players and Blizzard. And after, at the WCS finals, David Kim was there as well. So I talked to him a little bit, and he seems to really want to be getting more feedback on, Legacy of the Void for them to, to be helped in figuring out how they should adjust the game, the units, everything. And I feel like the professional players and all that, we don't really pay any attention to the Battle.net forums, which supposedly is the main place where you will give feedback. So I hope that more and more people are going to try, be trying, because it's really not that hard to, get an email or go to the forum and really pass on some replays and your feedback, which I think really will help Blizzard. So I hope that this is going to change.
Okay. I feel like Blizzard is smart enough to know that the Battle.net forums isn't where they should be looking for their.
They are.
Yeah, like.
Well, I mean, occasionally you'll find a diamond in the rough over there. Really.
Sure.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there is some comments, but.
I think they think of it as just keeping a thumb to the pulse, like just hearing what everyone collectively is saying. And if on the Blizz forums and on Reddit and on Team Liquid, they're collectively saying the same thing, that carries more weight than like, well, on those Blizz forums, one guy mentioned that Protoss should be removed from the game, so we're trying, but they're still playing the fucking race in Legacy of the Void.
Mm.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna actually have a question similar to that. So this was asked. Sorry, my Firefox is freezing. How about them Yankees?
It
right?
is literally killing me right now.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm just too excited.
I'll just use my other computer.
Oh, how fancy!
See that? There's Caster Man. Let's use my other computer.
That's my work laptop.
While you're doing that,
I've got no money. Please donate. I'll just use my other computer.
Laptop sponsor, please. But the Legacy of the Void beta is going to be really long, right? It's going to be like 8 months.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to release it
announced for BlizzCon, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly. So it's at least that long, and they would probably wait out until next year to release it.
I'll tell you what I want to see with HOTS right now. Like, to me, like, just playing as a low-level player, so feel free to discard my opinion as you usually do. But to me, it feels like right now, Zerg is a completely new race. They've got so many new options to play with, whether it be current units that have just been changed in a really interesting way, like, say, Roaches having Burrow by default to be able to get tunneling on Hatch Tech, whether it be the fact that they've got some really effective units, they added new spells to different other units, they changed units' roles completely. No other race feels like that right now. Zerg feels like a completely renovated race, out of nowhere. Terran
feels like the exact same.
We can drop tanks.
Yeah.
We can warp battle cruisers right into a Protoss army and have them just completely destroy us, like as usual.
Yeah.
Terran
it's
just
kind of cool
feels
to
like Terran with like an extra bit, whereas Zerg feels like this is like an entirely new race right now, and it's really fun to play.
Have you gotten a super late game with Terran yet? Like where you have battle cruisers and you can just like send one to each base? Like
I tried. I tried it against Protoss, and they just built High Templar and killed me. As it turns out, that having energy is bad. So, but you need energy to
use it.
So,
all right. So I have the question up now. So since David Kim said the game balance design team would communicate with the community more often in the future, how would you like the interaction to happen? What do you think is realistic, and what do you wish would happen? What I personally wish would happen is that they'd come on the show, as I've been pestering them for a long time for that, even in Heart of the Swarm, when we have big balance patches up. I think it would be great to have a panel, especially people like this, TotalBiscuit, iNcontroL, Todd, Maynarde, and Destiny, to say, hey, let us ask, we've been in this community for a long time. We are, what's that?
I was going to say I don't have anything to say to David Kim because he thought I was the worker transfer guy when I met him.
Yeah.
And I think they would much rather hear from people their feedback rather than talk themselves. Like they don't really have questions to ask or answer. They just want to hear about the game in general. Like they don't have any interest going on the show. I think. Today.
I would just prefer like Twitch plays StarCraft 2, like just whatever balance or complaint someone has, it just instantly goes into effect. Just anyone. You know what I mean?
Do you think they should be more aggressive with their balance?
I'm making a terrible joke.
Aggressive?
Well, so
what do you mean? No, they're doing fine. I think I honestly think the process is fine as it is. It would be cool if there was a little bit more talking to the public. Like it was cool David Kim gave some answers at this last WCS finals. They gave a few not spoilers, but they made the announcement that I believe Terran's getting a new unit, which is not much of an announcement because they're the ones missing.
They took out the last one.
Yeah, they just got a Cyclone. I like the way they're going about it, and honestly, the proof is in the pudding. Like I really do enjoy Legacy of the Void, despite the shitty maps and despite the poor balance right now, which is pretty incredible, all things considered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people are enjoying it, so it's good. You're doing a great job.
Here's a question that I would throw out. Do you think that putting the ladder in would help people play the beta more? As dumb as that sounds.
Certainly helped me. I'm getting my ass handed to me. It's like I run into fucking Showtime on ladder. I'm like, well, this is going to be an interesting 4 minutes.
Maybe I feel like a shitter, but I have a really hard time playing a lot of unranked games. I feel like if there was a ladder, I'd be motivated to grind out like a fuck ton more. Maybe that's like.
I agree.
I would be great. For me, it would be fantastic. I'm having a really hard time right now.
How long was it until? Because there is an MMR. Because I'm now facing the same people, and I'm winning a lot more games than it was when all the pros were, and there was no semblance of a rank structure. But when was it in the Heart of the Swarm beta that they actually released the ladder? Or was that immediate?
Well, they didn't do closed beta for Heart of the Swarm. I mean, if they did, it wasn't as public as this one was. It was.
They did. I'm pretty sure. Like there was like an activate on. I was pretty sure they had a closed beta.
Well, okay. There's varying terms. I'm misusing terms here. It wasn't this subdued. Maybe it was the same, but it was just very short term.
Yeah, I think it was about the same where they were flagging accounts and shit.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I'm wrong.
They probably just think they need a certain number of people in before they enable the ladder. Sooner or later.
Yeah.
The whole Warhound era was very glossy for me. It was just a lot of complaining by me.
I liked that. I won games. It was awesome.
Maybe there is an argument for like avoiding to let people cheese too much because it's a rank and everybody want to be able to say, oh, I was doing really well in the beta of the game, so maybe they didn't put ranks.
People are doing that anyway.
I got banned busted by some douchebag today on one base, so.
People do that anyway, but I actually disagree with that because I think that's actually really important. I rage at it when it happens, but like you need those people. Like imagine you go through the entire beta and people only play with the new units and shit, and then the game is actually launched, and then you find out that like 12 gas, 11 pool Zerg rushes are actually unstoppable. But nobody did it in the beta because they all wanted to build Ravagers, So I think that cheesing does have its place, as annoying as it can be. I agree. That does it.
All right. My biggest complaint along those lines is just the maps, and I know I've said that a million times, but just the idea that we're locked on maps that we know.
4-player maps, fucking any spawn, fucking please, Inferno pools is still. I'm gonna even like that fucking map for Heart of the Swarm. Please get these fucking shitty maps out of here. Yeah, that's really bad too.
Speaking of bias, it's a tough time taking a third as it is, but then like there's these maps that the third base is a terrible option, and now people can crush your force fields, and Colossus suck, and you're just like, so I 2-base all in or cannon rush.
And it's Legacy of the Void, so you have to have 3 bases or you go broke.
Right.
I played, oh dude, I really enjoy playing people that do like that turtle mech style now. It feels so much more rewarding to restrict people to 3 bases than it did before. Is anybody
they mine out in 10 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. But like in fucking, in Heart of the Swarm, like you play certain people like Ruff or Villo, I guess are my examples, where it's like you play them and they're on like 3 bases and it's like 29 minutes in, and then they edge out to take their 4th, and there's this huge fucking fight, and it's like they've got enough to replace their army at least once because they never lose any units because the style they play is like, oh my fucking god. And then if they take the 4th, the game's gonna go on for like another 25 minutes. Like, god fucking damn it. Whereas in this shit, it's like somebody's on like 3 bases, and it's like you keep on protecting their 4th until like the 15-minute mark. It's like they're fucking mined out. I really like that. I like that the economy is so punishing if you're not like active. Like it feels like you're, I don't know, like when you play games as this, I again, I don't know the balance or whatever. I don't know if this, maybe it does favor Zerg more because you're used to expanding quicker and making hatcheries and shit, but it feels like you're out of breath with how quickly you have to move on with taking bases because you're fucking like you finish like Warp Gate tech is done and like you look at your main base and like some of the minerals look like they're almost mined out. It's like holy fuck, like we have to you have to move. I really like that feeling. I think it's really cool.
All right, so I think we're gonna wrap up the show now, guys. There are a lot of questions, but we do not have a lot of time, so we're gonna.
I want to ask one thing quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you guys also really bothered by the minimap in Legacy of the Void, like the colors?
I am.
I'm not because I don't look at the minimap.
I think the idea was good. I think I don't know if they've said why they've done it, but I think conceptually, I think the idea was it would be nice to look at the minimap and tell at a glance, is there like just a few units there, or is it a huge cluster? Right. I think that's the purpose of the transparency.
Yeah.
Right? Because if there's a lot of units, it's a darker color. So I think the idea is okay. I don't know if maybe they need to increase the number of pixels available on the mini-map so you can tell like what's going on better, or if they need to make the colors like better, or I don't know what the solution is. I do agree that looking at it right now is very strange. I don't know if I like it, but I like the idea. Right, because you would have that happen sometimes where in like Heart of the Swarm or even in Brood War where like you might see like a couple of boxes on the minimap and then you go to look there but it's already out, it's in the fog of war, and you don't know if that was just like 2 or 3 units or if it was like 52 carriers because it was just like one little box. So yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting idea, but the execution so far seems lackluster.
All right, Any other last-minute thoughts on the game before we go into saying our goodbyes?
Yes, Destiny, stop playing fucking Bloodborne and go and tear this ladder up. Even Winter is doing well.
Well, all right. TotalBiscuit, thank you for coming on the first time. Hope to have you on many more times. Go ahead and say your goodbyes and tell people about tonight.
Yep. Thank you for watching, folks. Very much appreciated. We're going to be running our debut Clan War for SHOUTcraft Clan War Season 2 tonight in 1 hour and 45 minutes on MLG.TV/SHOUTcraft. It's going to be Prime versus YoFlash Wolves. You don't want to miss it. If you do miss it, there are reruns all the time on MLG.TV/SHOUTcraft. And if you somehow miss those as well, okay, you can come watch them on YouTube. YouTube.com/TotalBiscuit. It'll be spoiler-free. We'll put all of the maps in there. We'll put an anti-spoiler at the end, so you have no idea when it's going to end. It's all a big mystery. And the schedule for everything is actually on that page, and there's also threads over on Team Liquid in SC2 tournaments, and you'll be able to find the schedule for the rest of the month there as well. And those asking about the EU-friendly times, about half the matches this month are at like 2 p.m. Eastern, which is about 8 p.m. Central European time. So it's very EU-friendly. We'll have plenty of those. But big thanks, and if you don't already, please follow me on Twitter, because that's where I tell you about shit. Twitter.com/TotalBiscuit, and I occasionally get with people that are frankly stupid.
Awesome. Thank you, TV. iNcontroL, glad to have you back once again. Go ahead and say your piece.
I must go.
Thanks for having me. What'd you say, John?
I said I must go. Goodbye.
Oh, bye.
Goodbye. Yeah, same thing as me. You can follow me on Twitter, EGcontrol. I've been streaming a lot of Legacy of the Void as well as some CSGO. Enjoying that as well. In the near future, I don't have any StarCraft gigs lined up. I'm just going to be working and plugging away at Legacy of the Void. And that's that. That's it for my immediate future. So thanks for having me on, and thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Real quick question. What rank are you in CSGO?
I'm glad you asked, Lycan. I just hit Gold Nova 4, which basically means I'm a professional.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm Silver 3.
They're getting paid soon.
I suck. All right, Maynarde, had you on last week. Glad to have you on again. I guess, you know, until winter, I won't be able to have you on again with the time zone.
What about winter?
No, don't do that. So, but anyway, unless you go to like Europe or something and you have free time, we can get you on at a good time. But
I mean, I don't mind getting up early is okay. I usually get up pretty early anyway, but five is pushing it. That's how.
That's farmer time, son.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got any crops or anything like that to worry about, so this is it's rough, but I mean, it's okay. I think I did all right. I yawned a bit too much, but you know, that's okay.
Glad to have you. So go ahead and tell people where they can find you. What's coming up in Maynard's world?
Well, I don't really do social networking too much. I've only got the Twitter, so it's twitter.com/MaynardeSC2 if you want to follow me on there. I've got a cast coming up next weekend. It's going to be the WCS Season 2 Oceania qualifiers, the Challenger League for Oceania, where one of the round of 16 players came from. Of course, it was Pig, and we'll be seeing who comes through next into Premier. So it's going to be a good show. I'll be casting with Zeph, my good friend. She's probably my favorite person to cast with, along with the ESL guys. They're all my favorites as well, but mainly Zeph. We do most of the stuff together, and we have. On Friday night, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch TV/Maynarde. Just going to be Legacy of the Void Ladder, and have an idea for a bit of a show where maybe there's a lot of viewers right now, so I'll just ask if Twitch chat likes the idea of a. I'm not really good at StarCraft, but I am quite good at music and whiskey, if that's something to be good at. So if I'm kind of going to do like a whiskey bottle review where I get a new bottle of whiskey I've never had before, I'm going to review it while playing, and then play an album on Bandcamp that I've never heard before and review the album, as I am a learned musician as well.
That's awesome.
I'll be tuning in.
If you guys like that idea,
shit. If you put yourself in underwear, I'll watch that every time.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, if you guys want to watch, it'll be probably Friday morning for a lot of the Northern Hemisphere guys. It'll be Friday night for me. So
I got my guitar right here if you want to jam.
Oh yeah, you want to? with that video delay, it'll sound crisp,
right?
But yeah, I mean, if you guys think that's a good idea, tweet at me, MaynardeSC2, and I'm going to run with it. So far, the people that have sort of floated it by, I think that's a good idea, like a whiskey review followed by an album review while laddering.
I like that. I like it a lot. All right, Todd, thank you for coming on. I haven't had you on since episode 1. It's glad to have you back. What's going on in Todd's world?
Can I ask first what episode is this?
What's that? 22.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's not been like 200 episodes. Okay, I feel better. It's been going well, casting tournaments here and there. I got at least, I think, 2 tournaments that I'm going to do that I can't talk about yet. So one's going to be online, one's going to be offline. So it's going to be fun. Started casting some heroes as well. I don't think this is the right place to talk about it. A lot of people are going to hate, but you know what? Haters going to hate. And
heroes is okay, man.
Because they hate us. So if you want to follow me, Twitter is probably the best place where I post the most. It's twitter.com/JohanMerlo. Same thing on Facebook. I just started, investing a little bit more time in YouTube as well, and got a custom URL just, I think, 2 days ago. So it's youtube.com/TotalGaming. I make videos from like events I go to. The last one for Katowice was pretty fun. There was 2 videos.
Was so good.
Yes, with the second one with the impressions of Jeff.
iNcontroL's impressions is just 10 out of 10, man. His Red Eye one got me every time. I was like, oh my god.
So yeah,
Red Eye message too. He said that's Scottish, not.
No, he said that's
Australian. He said Australian. That's what it was.
Was it though?
Whatever, it got me, man.
That was great.
And the Frodan one. The Frodan one was like the most perfect impression of the Oh man.
Well, thank you guys.
It's good stuff. Well, thank you, Todd, for coming on, and hope to have you on again soon. Steven, what's going on in your world?
Nothing much. Same old. I'm trying to be Bloodborne now. That's like my current game that I'm working on. So
it's a good game.
So does that mean you won't be streaming StarCraft after this?
Oh no, I probably got like a week left in this game. I'm trying to beat it without leveling vitality, and it's pretty interesting. So I've been doing that. If you guys are looking to support me or whatever, guys, if I got a great deal for you. If you made less than $3,950 in the tax year of 2014 and you're looking for somebody to claim you as a dependent, go ahead and just throw me an email. It would help me a lot on my taxes. And otherwise, if you can't do that, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Steven_Bonnell. You can use that social media outreach. And I don't really have any projects in the work at the moment.
By the way, sorry, I'm so bad at that. Steven, finish, please.
No, that was it. I'm done.
Okay.
I mean, you said I'm done, so I guess go ahead. Whatever the fuck you wanted to say.
We're doing Swan Song at 5 p.m. PDT too. If you're into that kind of stuff, so just join in on that.
What is that?
It's like D&D, but it's stars without numbers.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Well, I want to thank everyone that came on today for coming on the show. The show wouldn't exist without you guys. TotalBiscuit, I'll thank him plenty of times. Great guy for coming on. iNcontroL, Maynarde, Todd. Really glad to have you guys. You guys are fun, and you keep the good flow going. I have to do very little work with you guys here. And Steven, as always, thank you for helping out and for continuing to host the show with me. I want to give a few shout-outs. Please, if you have social media, check out FearDragon64. He does a lot of great content. He hosts a show called Breaking Out, and he does a Breaking Out Invitational. Highlights North American players. Jack Attack. I doubt you don't know who Jack Attack is, but definitely check out his content. If you don't, it's at Jack Attack TV on Twitter. Lots of great tutorials. He's got a lot of cool stuff coming out for Legacy of the Void. The day that the beta was released, he was sitting there, taking requests and making, figuring out all the new things about the new units and stuff that we want to know. So check him out. Also, Ascended Star League, they put on a lot of tournaments, and they're currently working to make their tournaments free to play, but they do a lot of great content. They've had Parting, Jaedong, Tasia, Soxry, a ton of big names playing in their tournaments, so definitely check them out as well. And then last but not least, myself, I am a social media whore. Every time I get a Twitter follower, I get a little happy. So please follow me on Twitter at LycanGTV.
It's an unhealthy lifestyle, man. You got to break away from that.
Right? I need as many
followers make you happy.
as many parasocial relationships as we can build. That is my goal. So
Good word.
thank you.
Peace, guys.
Yep. Have a good one. Take it easy.
Yep.
So dirty.